Anyway, our first story today comes from the land down under, where a woman from Glenview, Australia assumed she was being robbed when she heard some glass break in her kitchen. So naturally, she decided to dial 000, which, fun fact, is 911 in Australia. She then saw the snake and decided that it was not a human and decided to call the Sunshine Coast snake catchers.
Alright, there he is. Yeah, it's on the top shelf. Oh, there's the snake. Had to go a bit of a blind grab then. I could have to use my camera to see where he was. Yeah, well, that doesn't belong in the
Doesn't belong there?
the pantry, that's for sure.
Obviously, the snake is non-venomous, otherwise I'm sure he would not have Leroy Jenkins'd it quite like that. The crazy part to me is the man said that was not the first snake in a house that night. I honestly don't know why I still want to go to Australia, when every time I hear about it, it's stories like this. Anywho, that being said, I'm glad this was not a burglary, but just a snake playing hide and seek. The next piece of news still comes from the land down under. Well, New Zealand. I don't know if that actually counts or not. I don't really feel like Googling it. Anyway, the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research found a baby ghost shark in the Chatham Rise while surveying the land for hokifish. They knew it was only a few days old because, very similar to tortoises, they keep the yolk on like their chest for the first little while after they're born. Kind of weird deal. This is pretty cool because most of these sharks live very, very down deep underneath the water, and so we don't get a chance to see them very young, like ever. I apologize because we have yet another story out of New Zealand. I promise that all future stories will be from places that actually exist. Anyway, Colin and Donna Craig Brown have accidentally grown the world's largest potato.
I got the fork and jabbed into it and hoiked it out of the ground and holy snapping turtle teeth. What's going on here? I'm like, what is it? I said to Donna, I said, no, it's a potato.
Yeah.
And she went, no. I said, yeah, it is. You know, poor fella, he doesn't have arms and legs and that sort of thing. So I made him a little trolley so he can take him out and give him a bit of sunshine now and then, you know.
So, as you can see, they have grown the world's largest potato, which is a thing that exists, I guess. However, there's a twist, because even though they did grow a massive 17-pound behemoth of a vegetable, it is actually a gourd. However, it is still named Doug. I love that they managed to grow something like that completely on accident. And then the way that they identified what it was the dude just tasted it, and it was like, yup, that's potato. So the Guinness people came and ran a test to determine if it was actually potato. Clearly it failed. Thankfully, they were able to keep a very positive outlook on the whole deal. Even after being told that their potato Doug was not actually potato, but a gourd, he still had this to say.
I'm disappointed, but he's still Doug, not the biggest potato. It's been a real roller coaster of potato-rama. We hopped on the roller coaster eyes wide open and enjoyed the ride, and this was the last real twist. It's inspired me to grow my potato and really get stuck in. Draw on all the knowledge and scientific know-how that I've accumulated through the process with all the experts. I'm really gonna give it my all and have a go at growing the biggest potato in the world.
My home state, Michigan, is known for a few things. We got cars, we got lakes, we got ginormous wooden toilets. The toilet in question is the one found in the House of Charmed, named after the OG owner, Edith, the Lady of Charm, Melrose, who I guess was a very famous radio and TV star, but since I'm not a dinosaur, I do not know who she was. The house, though, is being listed for just shy of $1 million, coming in at $979,000. Now, while this toilet is pretty weird, champ, the rest of the house is pretty nice. It sits on the corner of the land, with two sides facing the water, along with a pretty sick interior. It is very old looking, but I don't know, I think it looks cool. You know, if I had to pick a land animal that could swim 7 miles, I don't think a dog shaped like this would be it. Regardless, one from Florida, named Jessica, managed to when she fell from her owner's 65-foot-long yacht. Pretty quickly, the owners let down the two side boats on the yacht to go out into the water and look for her. Thankfully, the dog managed to swim back to her house, where one of the neighbors found her. The neighbor that found the dog refused the $500 reward that the owners offered her. No reason was given for the refusal, but I'm guessing that it's probably because they only offered $500 and they own a 65-foot long yacht. It's kind of insulting. So our next story is about the little man rising up against the man that is the DMV. Carly Cindy applied for a custom license plate with the word fart on it. In an effort to keep the plate, she has since associated with the Friends of Asheville Recreational Trails.
The text among 9,000 banned by the DMV. State policy, however, allowed Carly to appeal.
I was really hoping they would just take fart off the list because it's not a bad word. but you know, that didn't happen.
Instead, the license plate has stirred interest and national support.
So we tracked her down, and she's with us now from Asheville, North Carolina.
From Jimmy Kimmel Live to Debbie Mulvey at the club's meetup.
I'm an old fart.
Claiming then that she was wanting to keep the plate so that she could rep her group. The DMV, of course, does not care about her group and said that she is allowed to keep the plate, just not on a vehicle. So she's allowed to have it at her house. How does a landscaper do a chin-up? So David Rush broke the record for the longest distance while carrying a lawnmower on his chin, which was 32.75. I actually got to see a dude do something quite similar in Branson, Missouri, where he was performing at a show and was balancing stuff I think he did a ladder. He did a couple chairs, and I don't remember if he did anything else. But I will say that it's kind of lame that he did a lawnmower without an engine in it. This one seems kind of light.
This is a record I've held previously. I tried to break it back one time, but it was disqualified because I was using a powered lawnmower that wasn't on. They said, nah, it's got to be non-powered, no engine. So I said, okay, I'll come back at it.
Oh, never mind that. David was, of course, a little upset because he was just 7 meters shy of his goal of a kilometer, saying, I wish I could have finished those last 7 meters, but I'm happy with the result. So I guess in Germany, sausage vending machines are starting to take off. So the reason for the vending machines is that people are getting out and staying out later after restaurants and businesses close. So, of course, businesses still wanting to retain customers, but also not wanting to add hours or more employees, decided that vending machines would be the perfect solution. I guess this has been a bigger thing over there for a while now, as you can find many grocery items in vending machines, such as eggs, milk, and vegetables. Personally, I think this is a phenomenal idea and should be brought to the US immediately. With the combination of our restaurants and businesses not being open as late, and the fact that the US ranks 12th on the obesity chart, whereas Germany is only 79th. Let's get those numbers up. This next story follows in the footsteps of giants, like the Tide Pod Challenge and the Corn Cob on a Drill Challenge, which, to be honest, that second one does still kind of sound fun. I want to try that. It is called the Orbeez Challenge, and from what I can tell, I guess it's basically a bunch of people taking airsoft guns and then filling them with only half soaked or a little bit soaked Orbeez. Because for those who don't know, Orbeez start out as small beads, and then you soak them in water and they turn into little jelly-filled balls. The challenge, I guess, is to shoot people with Orbeez guns. However, since these Orbeez are only a little bit soaked, the challenge is basically just shoot people with airsoft guns for TikTok. This gun was confiscated by a police officer from a 19-year-old who decided to shoot an Amazon driver. Another set of teens were driving around in a van, shooting people in a neighborhood. Their hit list included 2 homeowners and a random guy trimming a tree. So maybe decide to stay classy and don't participate in this challenge. So our last story involves a camel and a very poorly run business. So in Memphis, Tennessee, there is, or should I say was, a petting zoo that was run very poorly. The business had gone through several previous inspections in which they were told to fix things and just never did. Things such as clean drinking water that wasn't just a shallow creek in the backside of the enclosure. There was also inadequate fencing for every animal on the premises except for the primates. And because all of that was not enough, there was only one person working it at a time, and it was the cashier who did not have line of sight to the animals. So when this one camel decided to go rogue and start attacking people, there was nothing really in place to prevent it. The police were called to the scene, but by the time they arrived, 2 men were already unconscious. The EMTs attempted to save the 2 men's lives, however they were unsuccessful. The camel, of course, being murderous and bloodthirsty, decided to even attack the EMTs while they were trying to help the 2 men. So naturally the camel was put down. Bit of a sadder story to end on today, guys, so sorry. That's it this time. Come back next week for another R&R. Like the video if you liked it, attempt to cancel me if you didn't, and as always, keep clicking heads.